And I hope we are live. I just had to switch from the hotel Wi-Fi to my phone as a hotspot. Cross my fingers that it works. The That is always a challenge when traveling. I still want to be consistent, so I'm doing the live stream, but this is going to be a shorter live stream because I have a smaller amount of time. I'm hanging out with the folks over at Ninja One. I actually serve in this is something that me and Jason are here doing, along with a lot of other really cool people, other IT services, managed service providers that are on an advisory council. We go visit our friends at Ninja One. They let us, I wouldn't say let us, they set up engagement with us and the product leaders, product managers. We do a 2-day session. It's a lot of fun. I'll do a recap of what that's like. But this comes from, us engaging with them like, hey, these are features we'd like to see. This is how we use the product, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a fun, engaging conversation that we have. A lot of things come out of it. And there's something that can really be said about these in-person events where you make a lot of friends and get to shake some hands. So it's one of the reasons I'm here. So here is Austin, obviously not my normal studio, but this is a nice hotel. I'm okay here. And the Wi-Fi sucks at every hotel, so I'm not mad about that. That's just life. You generally don't get the best because everyone's like, hey, let me check my email now or stream something. And then you are like, here's the bandwidth you get, which is enough to get your things done, but maybe not enough to do a live stream. But the next thing is I'm here in Austin. Then the next stop is Florida, where I'm heading over to MSPGeekCon. You can look up what MSPGeekCon is. It's a really cool conference targeted at technical people. It's second year now, and it's awesome. So definitely, if you're interested, check that out. I don't know it's only happening in a couple of days. I don't know if that means you'll be able to make it there, but for many of you that I know will be there, say hi. Love seeing all of you. All right, now to the couple topics, because like I said, I have a finite amount of time before I have to go to the event. I could have done this live stream after, but I didn't get until 1 last night. I have a feeling I won't get until after midnight, which technically wouldn't make it vlog Thursday. And I was probably not, well, maybe I would say I was in a different state that maybe I should or should not do a live stream in. Nonetheless, let's see. Yeah, no, I've only had a little bit of time to actually do some dirt biking. So haven't had a lot of time. I have some scheduled time to do it. I purposely just been bicycling, like pedaling before these events, because I have now a worry. Before I thought nothing of it. And this is how all my trips got screwed up last year with my accident on my motorcycle, was going too fast on a motorcycle. And if I'm on a motorcycle, I'm going to go fast. So if I'm on a bicycle, which is better for me for health reasons and security reasons, as I do pedal a lot to put some miles on my bike. That's not what you're here to talk about. We are here, and I've seen someone already threw that comment on here of pfSense and their new installer. Yeah, it's not. So I know someone also posted on Reddit that they put it in a paywall. They did not put pfSense behind a paywall. The downloads are still available, but they did build an installer that downloads, and it's not that it's a paywall. They send you a link. This is a consolidation. I did a blog post on this, and it's a consolidation of both pfSense Plus and the pfSense into a single installer. The reason for it is they wanted to be able to have a system. So those of you that have purchased a pfSense Plus license and you would like to load that on your system, it automatically installs instead of having to do that interim, because the number of people angry about the interim one seems to be greater than the people angry that they've consolidated to one single installer. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, and by the way, Ubiquiti doing a live stream this afternoon with Tech Field Day. It'll be interesting to see probably all the enterprise gear we saw at UWC. Yes, and I believe Cody's going to be doing that as well. And I mean, obviously, you follow my channel, you probably follow Cody's, but if you don't, go check out Mac Telecom Networks. He's going to be doing some live streaming on that, and that's where we'll lead the conversation next. And the firewall videos, I have actually several of them in the works. This does include me testing some of the Ubiquiti equipment, because I think they're doing some cool stuff, especially with their firewalls. I've been critical of them, but those critical comments I've had on their firewall are because I want to see a firewall that meets the needs that I have. And so it's not like I'm critical of them going, don't use them, they suck, or I don't like them. It's more like, hey, here's the features. And of course, I did the recent video talking about where they are today, as in the day I did the video, but there's a future that I've been privy to a little bit, and so has Cody at Mac Telecom, that we know they've got a lot more coming. So yes, that's something that I'm excited about, which kind of leads me into something I wanted to mention. And this is a link you're going to find in the description down below, talking about the argument about pfSense and OPNsense. It's getting kind of dumb. And I usually don't I'm not going to call it like it's not really a review of OPNsense. And by the way, all this text here is a lot to read. It starts with people talking about the installer and then immediately goes into the usual debate of, oh man, Tom, you got to do OPNsense videos. And someone left a comment with me, something along the lines of, not in my forums, I'm unsubscribing to you because you don't do OPNsense videos. I'm like, well, if you're here for OPNsense videos, you're on the wrong channel. I'm like, unsubscribe, I guess, if I'm not doing the videos that are engaging to you. I mean, I don't see it as an offense if I don't subscribe to things I don't want to see. And if you only want to see OPNsense videos, sorry. I don't do OPNsense videos. And I'm going to do a video basically stating why, because the number of people that seem to want to debate about this is a lot. And there's the debate then, as the usual things go. So I can zoom this in a little bit here, make it a little bit easier to see. But it's basically people, and I get the wishful thinking part of it, going, but Tom, OPNsense, and aren't they like a fork that's completely independent of pfSense? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's extremely dependent on the team at Netgate's contributions to BSD. So, and I just point that out. That's not a statement that means like there should be emotion in it. I'm just pointing that out. And people try to say, no. And then they tell me, well, if Netgate went away, the team at OPNsense would magically start contributing all the code. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because one of the things I had pointed out was this right here. Like, why aren't the team at OPNsense moving to the new BSD? And the reasons are, it's complicated. It takes a lot of engineers. They don't have as big of a team. So one of the reasons I don't use OPNsense is they just don't have the same level of security updates, patching. They have more updates, but they're not the right updates, in my opinion. They're lagging behind on security and have a lot of bugginess. And part of their problem is, and there's a whole discussion about like why their VPN isn't as fast or why they don't have new features. And Franco, who is the head of the project here, this is their forums, so you can link to this. He's basically complaining that there's not enough backporting going on for the code. And I'm like, okay, that's a fair complaint. They don't have enough team to backport existing code. So what makes you think they can write new code? It's kind of a silly argument, I think, but people really want to debate with me about it. When I point out the security ones, there's a lot of people that seem to be upset going, Tom, that saying that they're behind on security is not a good excuse. I'm like, we as an IT company are tasked with, and my experience with pfSense is like commercial installs, thousands of consulting jobs we've done where pfSense has been part of the solution we're providing, combined with we manage these for clients. We have this actively deployed at many of our clients. I can't have something that, one, is buggy with updates and patches, and two, doesn't have good security updates. I can't like choose that. That's why I don't do OPNsense features. It's really that simple. I mean, I always tell people, use what makes you happy. If you want to use OPNsense, you can use OPNsense. I'm not stopping you from using it, but I'm not going to do videos on it. That's all. It's kind of a weird debate, but I do want to make a new like 2024 firewall video where I did the comparison of other firewalls, which always requires me to preface that with, hey, I can't cover every firewall in existence. I'm covering some of the more popular ones that I have some familiarity with. That is the basis that I come from. And matter of fact, that's most of the basis I come from when I'm doing things. Is I talk not just from like, hey, I tested it in my lab or my office. I like to bring people hey, this is what it looks like in production. This is one of the reasons I just did that Ubiquity video talking about 6 years later, 6 years of usage. What does that look like? Because that's a better metric for those of you that are looking for a review. Isn't like day one shiny thing that works, or shiny thing that works when Tom tested it with 10 devices. What does it look like with 2,000 users, 3,000 users? Did it die? Did it die over the last few years? What does that product cycle look like? So bringing some of that, and I've done this with cameras too. I went through, I think, almost $40,000 worth of cameras, and then gave my statistics on like, hey, these are the ones that we've had good luck with over years, et cetera, et cetera. And once again, it's a better metric. It's not what it looks like on day one because most everything works out of the box. So I'm trying to make sure I bring a lot more of that to the channel, even if there's some of the short videos. I want them to be from the experience we have using these in production environments. Because I always like the phrase, no battle plan survives contact with the enemy. And this is true. It's not what the product or the person selling you the product tells you. It's kind of like, what does it look like in production? That is, I think, a really important perspective, especially with technology that's as complex as everything from storage servers to firewalls and networking gear in general. So that's kind of where my head's at on all of that. And I always encourage feedback and let people tell me I'm wrong if they want to say I'm wrong. And and among things that I do to make the conversation a little better is have debates in the forums. You can absolutely read through and see that when I post in these forums, it's not any type of opinion, so to speak. Granted, it's opinion that I don't think if some of these companies went away, like Netgate specifically, that you would still have a good BSD ecosystem. Matter of fact, the BSD ecosystem we're seeing shrink right now. Netgate is one of the top contributors to it, but that I still back a lot of that up, talking about all the different developments. I link to all the different forum posts for discussions from the founders. I try to do this with all of my things. That's why I have my forums. It's like when I say, let's have a more in-depth discussion, you can see Tom puts a lot of words, links, and details in here for things, all in my forums. It's one of the reasons I encourage people to join here, because you can't have that discussion in YouTube. Matter of fact, the number of angry people in the comments, I can't believe YouTube won't let me post links. And I'm like, that's for spam reasons. Sorry, you can't really post links in YouTube. That's not a Tom thing. That's a YouTube's not going to allow it, and I don't blame them type thing. So when I say let's have a more in-depth discussion, that is where I like to have that discussion. But I have to get going to the CAB event, as they refer to it as. I can't remember what the acronym stands for right now, but nonetheless, last thing is the swag shirt is live, and this shirt will probably be soon in my store. I'm working on this. Is something what Ninja One did. I want to put some backstory behind it later, because it's just a fun story. It's a whole tabletop game that they did, like backup some bandwidth was the concept of doing D&D style tabletop exercises for tech learning. And I'd love to see if I can bring some of that to, it might be a fun thing to do on a live stream with some other technical people, where instead of just talking like through a tech tabletop problem, and this was done at the Ninja One live stream for this particular event I was at. We had a dungeon master that threw scenarios at us that we had to work our way through, like the backup's not working, the server's not working, network problems, etc. I think it's a fun, engaging way to learn, because tabletop exercises with people who are experienced, people with a lot of real world experience, and then those watching get a good idea of it. Like, oh yeah, that's how you would handle that scenario. So yes. It's definitely, it's kind of like, I like the engaging way to learn things. I'm always looking at ways to get people more engaged. So that's on there. There's also, I did a video, and I got to find out when this is going to go live, because I love to talk about it on the channel, because it's a scenario builder where you're a position like me, an IT services company, and it builds out scenarios that throw monkey wrenches at you, essentially. Like, hey, you have a client with this problem, that problem. You have finite resources, and it's kind of like a turn-based game. Like, you have so many resources you can allocate each day, which is the number of technicians. You have a series of different levels of technicians, et cetera. And then you have to use those resources to solve problems, and the problems kind of keep coming at each turn. They're building this as a web app game that you can sign up for. It's in beta, or I would say probably alpha right now is how they described it. But I would love if I can find something like that, or help bring something like that to life, to have all of you participate in it. So yeah, it's definitely, backdoors and breaches is another one too. There's definitely a few of them out there. I would love to put myself behind some of those as well, like to help promote them. I think it's a fun way to learn. So it's not just like, hey, this is how you solve it. It's about how you deal with the adverse situations that come up when you're working in tech. So definitely, definitely a lot of fun. But someone says, is this the only vlog Thursday? Yes, I'm going to end it here at the 15-minute mark, which is in a few seconds. So yeah, it's the only one right now. If I get back and I'm feeling like another live stream, maybe, but I have a feeling because last night my voice is still rough from how late I was out last night. That'll happen again tonight. I fully predict it. I'll probably do a Saturday live stream because I won't have time. I'm not going to be publishing any videos between today and Friday that I don't think I am, at least, but then I'll do a Saturday live stream. And, but yeah, love engaging with all of you. Leave comments down below. As I always say, have a more in-depth discussion in the forums. Check out that forum post because this is a, popular topic with people saying, did pfSense make changes to the installer? And they did. And there's a very rational discussion along with exactly how the installer works. I posted, I've done validation testing to see how this works, how it lets you select the version of pfSense. It's not behind a paywall. It is behind a email registration link, if you will. So you do have to do that, but there's also links in here if you want to just download the ISO still. Those are still there. They just don't have them listed on the main site. The main site brings you to an installer. So it's not, I'll explain more in a future video on all of this. Like I said, I believe in the calm and rational discussion that you'll find in my forums. So, hey, head over there. It's free to just read them. You don't have to sign up to do any reading. Although there's some people that don't like the fact that you have to use an email address to sign up to my forums. I don't have a solution for that one. People want to be able to post freely. I'm like, no, that will lead to every spammer hitting that site. I've had a few people tag me on Twitter going, Tom, you need a way for me to log in without my email. And I'm like, I'm all ears. What do you suggest that will allow me not to have spam posting in there? I already have to ban occasional spammers. They're not too bad, but they pop up from time to time. I'll see someone register with an AOL address. And I'm like, I'll approve it. And then like 2 hours later, they post some stupid spam to, SEO blog post stuff. And I'm like, delete user. I don't know. If anyone's got suggestions on a way to solve the spam problem with forums, let me know. All right. Thanks, everyone.